Good evening, everybody, and as a treat tonight, I'm going to review a movie from my childhood, one of my absolute favourite films of all time. And if you read the title, you know what I'm talking about. That's right. This year, this movie has celebrated it has turned 25 this year. The movie I'm talking about is Small Soldiers. And today, to celebrate its 25th anniversary, I'm going to review it. Now, I know I don't normally review stuff. I did a little quick review of the Super Mario Bros. Movie and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey last year. But, as a treat, I'm going to do this. So, sit back and relax as we go through the movie Small Soldiers. Enjoy! And before you ask, yes, I know it's 2024, not 2023. I got delayed. So, let's take a look at the movie ourselves. Small Soldiers is a 1998 live-action fantasy action comedy movie, and it was directed by Joe Dante, who directed Gremlins, Gremlins 2, Piranha, Looney Back in Action, and many others. This film also starred an impressive cast, such as Kirsten Dunst, Gregory Smith, the late Phil Hartman, Dick Miller, Kevin Dunham, David Cross, and many others. So, how does this movie actually hold up after all these years? Well, in order to pretty much know, we have to take a look at the movie. So let's find out. Starting with the plot. A company called Global Tech buys out a toy store. Don't know how it's possible in real life, but oh well. The CEO of Global Tech, Gil Mars, played by Dennis Leary, tell these two toy designers, Larry and Erwin, one of them played by David Cross, they isn't pleased about the toys in the commercial they made. After they show him the Gorgon Knights and the Commandos, he tells them to pretty much make them more like in the commercials, to Erwin's dismay. Later that night, Larry actually loses his passwords and uses Erwin's. He also actually buys some chips offline, not knowing that they're dangerous chips. 3 months later, Alan Abernathy, played by Gregory Smith, and get a delivery from Joe, played by Dick Miller, and basically Alan actually is interested in the boxes full of Gorgonites and Commandos. After testing them and see how they work, Alan actually wants to actually sell them in the shop, but Joe says no. But in a flash, he actually tells him he can, as long as he can pay them back. That's kind of illegal in real life. Then after, he gets a visit from Christy Fimple, played by Kirsten Dunst, who is looking for a birthday gift for his brother. and she soon recognises him. And Timmy actually spots the kind of Chip Hazard and Archer fighting in the back, and then they disappear. Timmy actually wants to have both of them for his birthday, and since Alan is in love with Christy, he actually says yes. Later that night, Alan comes home and discovers that Archer has stuck in his backpack. He also discovers that Archer is sentient. And he didn't freak out, we'll never know. Meanwhile, the Commando Elite are actually come alive and are now swarming and actually destroying the other Gorgonites. And one of them is played by Tommy Lee Jones. The next day, Alan and Archer find the toy shop actually destroyed. Don't know why there's no security cameras, we'll never know. To make things worse, Chrissy actually stops by to get the toys, but he tells them that the toys were stolen. And she kind of accuses Alan of doing an insurance scam. But she agrees to help them out. But they both have to leave. But they both have to leave when Alan's dad comes into the shop and sees the damage. To make things worse, Alan finds that Chrissy has a boyfriend named Brad, which Alan is a bit annoyed that his dad sent him away and accused him of a ruckus, and is now fuming. Meanwhile, the commandos actually spot Alan and Archer, and in a very violent bike chase, Rick Bazooka actually follows them, but then gets destroyed. Later that night, Ian and Erwin discovered that the chips are actually Newton's chips by the military. Okay. Also, but meanwhile, Archer thinks he hears the other Gorgonites, and he pretty much goes to find them, only to be ambushed by Chip Hazards. What a badass! After they captured him, Archer is interrogated to actually reveal the other Gorgonites, but he says no. Just then, Alan actually comes down and rescues Archer, only for Nick Nitro to wound him. In retaliation, he puts him in a sink thingy, waste disposal, whatever it's called, killing him. Alan's parents come down, and when Alan tries to explain what's going on, they think he's on drugs. Bit of an odd thing to say to your kid. At first, Alan is frustrated, and I very think. But then Archer tells him that the other Gorgonites are still alive. Still alive because if they were dead, they wouldn't be looking for them. Meanwhile, Nick Nitro actually dies, and now the other commandos now swear revenge, going full war on them now. The next day, they find the other Gorgonites in a dustbin and then take them home. Not knowing what to do with them, Alan actually puts them in his bedroom, thinking they'll be safe. Just then, Alan actually gets a phone call from Christy, checking up on him. But he asked her out, but he turned him down because she's already got a boyfriend. The other commandos actually hear about this, and and now make a plan to actually kidnap Christie in exchange for the Gorgonites. They go next door to her house, drug her parents, and hogtie her brother. That's committing war crimes, you know? After that, they actually discover Christie's Barbie doll collection. I know they have names in the movie, but be serious, they're just Barbie dolls. Just give it a different name, there's no difference. Anyway, after the commandos actually discover them, they decide to recruit them as reinforcements and have them kidnap Christie. By using Nick Nitro's chip, they actually managed to bring them to life, and for some reason they're in their, I'm going to say, bikinis, that I don't want to think about what they were thinking about when they were doing that. But they also actually shape their heads and make them look deformed, also giving them sharp objects as weapons. Pretty badass. Anyway, after Christie comes home, the Barbies actually ambush her, pin her down, and tie her up. When Brad comes in, he sees Christie actually tied up by the Barbies, but he actually gets harassed by them and killed by them. But then he abandons her after the commandos actually set him on fire, leaving Christie as a hostage. And he never showed up in the film again. Bit of a dick. After that, they actually send a hostage video saying, "Give up the Gorgonites, or we kill her." And the rest of the movie contains a rescue mission, a chase scene, and an epic battle at the end. And that was the entire plot of the movie. And I'm really exhausted by actually talking about it. No joke.